Hello and welcome to another episode of Financial Deep Dive with CWT. My name is Caleb Tanner. I'm the CEO of Finance by CWT, a company that talks all about the stock market, investing. We're an investment company ourselves that invests into a lot of public and privately traded companies. And in today's episode, I want to talk about Camping World Holdings. So one thing that is kind of surprising, I could have swore that I wrote articles about this stock already on Finance by CWT. Apparently, I haven't. I've actually been looking at this stock for quite a long time, and the fact that I haven't really published any content about it yet is very surprising. So that's one reason I'm very excited to make this episode. Also, they just hit, I'm looking at the stock right now. So at the time of recording, they're at $29.97, about to be $30 a share, which is especially cool because when I first started talking about it, I believe that the stock was at like $22, I think. So that's pretty cool. But yeah, there's a lot that I really like about this stock in particular. Like if you just look at, if we look at their financials for just a second, their last earnings call was really good. They beat it by 21 cents. They're growing rather quickly. Like if we look at their actual growth, I'm pulling it up right now. They brought in $6.91 billion of revenue last year in 2021, and they earned $278 million off of that. Compared to last year where they brought in $5.45 billion and they only made $122 in actual earnings for that. So, yeah, they're growing pretty quickly. Like last year was a record year, which keep in mind, COVID definitely skyrocketed that business. Like camping kind of exploded after that. But that's really what got me interested in the stock in the first place. I saw how much camping was just absolutely skyrocketing. Like the amount of people kind of getting into like the camper's lifestyle and buying campers is just, it's insane right now. And since Camping World basically has a monopoly on that, I assume their stock was probably skyrocketing during that time, which kind of shocked me when I saw that not really. In fact, over the past 5 years, like if 5 years ago you would have put money into Camping World, you'd actually be down on your investment, which I find just insane. My thesis on this is that while it is true that camping has absolutely skyrocketed, the market hasn't really realized that yet. I think they will, but they haven't really realized that yet, which is kind of like my entire thesis to begin with. The reason I started looking at the stock to begin with is that I saw kind of how they were trading, and it didn't match reality. And I realized, a lot of the Wall Street bankers, the people that are actually, moving the market, they have no idea what's happening in camping. And I think that is something that is very telling when you look at the stock, although I believe they will eventually catch on. In fact, looking at the company's financials, it really doesn't make any sense. So they have a PE ratio of 5.61 right now, which is absolutely insane when we look at the growth that we just looked at. Like if you remember when I was looking at the financials just a second ago, they're growing their earnings, they're growing their profits. So if they're growing that much, why is the PE ratio so low? Like it's trading less than a tobacco stock, which doesn't really make too much sense. They also offer an amazing dividend. Like on shares of it, you're currently getting an 8.24% yield, so $2.50 a share, and that's pretty incredible actually. Like that dividend, usually when you see a dividend like that, like I'm not a dividend investor myself. In fact, most of my stocks don't offer a dividend, and I'm fine with that. The reason that I say that is because usually if companies offering high dividends because they're done growing, and they have to give investors a reason to buy the stock. So since the stock isn't going to grow on its own, they offer a really high dividend. So then people do it, but also it just shows how profitable this company actually is. And their market cap, and this is insane to me, is $1.27 billion. And the reason I say that is insane is let's take a second and look at what they own. So they own Camping World, obviously, basically the largest RV manufacturer in the country. But they also own Good Sam's, which is a membership service in camping where people can get a Good Sam's membership. They get roadside assistance, insurance. They get, access to like thousands of campgrounds, actually. Like it's something that basically they have over 1 million people that join it. And that's pretty important. Like, it seems like everyone, like, especially if you get a camper from Camping World, you're going to get a Good Sam's membership. It's just how it works. Because not that much money either, but if you look at it, 1 million people, I was spending $200, a year for Good Sam's. Actually, $29 a year, but you look at that, 1 million people having it, that's $29 million. And when that many people are, growing, the amount of people actually buying campers are growing, the membership itself is just going to grow. So when you look at, all that they actually own and control, like, they basically have, a monopoly around camping. And, we have a monopoly in an industry that's growing rather quickly. That's a very good sign for the company itself. So when you look at all that, and then you look at $1 billion valuation, when you look at how much money they're making just from Good Sam's and just from like manufacturing campers itself, and when you put that all together, does it really make sense that Camping World has a $1.27 billion valuation? I say that doesn't make any sense at all. Like, I believe this company is just so insanely undervalued, which is exciting for me as an investor, because if I can own that company at a very, good valuation, then when it becomes correctly valued, I'm at a pretty large profit just in that itself. So I look at it, when I first started looking at the stock, it was at $22. I believe around $22. Now they're at $29, which annoys me a little bit because I wanted to buy it at around $20. I was hoping to get $20 a share, but at $30, I still think it's a buy. Like, it's still a stock that, I wouldn't mind putting some money in. And I definitely plan to. Like, I plan to add that to, like, the CWT. It's the CWT portfolio of investments. And whether it's right now or in the future, I'm not sure. But one thing that I must warn everyone about before, you put your money in Camping World, the reason I have not yet is share dilution. Like, during... like, if you look at the past, it's been a big problem that they've had where they dilute their shareholders by issuing new shares. And, I understand the need for more funding, but that is not something that I really like. And they have debt too. Like, there is some cons to investing in a camping world, and cons to their business model itself. But just on valuation, just on earnings, just on the, absolute expansion of camping, I feel like I definitely won't lose money on this stock. Thank you for listening to this episode of Financial Deep Dive with CWT. Subscribe on whatever platform you're currently listening on, and thank you.